Welcome everybody. It is Business Monday here at the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm Josh Fenton. This is Justin Kerr from Justin Kerr Design. It's a gloomy Monday after the great holiday weekend, but we kind of have some news, and you guys are sparking some stuff in Rhode Island. Talk a little bit about your design shop. You're 3 years at it. This is a design center, it literally is. Talk a little bit about your business.
Thanks. Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
And as you said, it's my third year in business, and I am a graphic designer, trained graphic designer, and design consultant. So basically what I do is I help businesses be clear, strong, and consistent in their visual marketing.
Not an easy task.
No, not an easy task, but that is the goal.
Right.
So where my business lives is sort of in the space between marketing agencies and freelance designers. So where I live and where I'm able to do my best work is sitting down with either solopreneurs and consulting with them and helping them get their marketing strategy together and their design strategy, or I can customize a team of professionals and work with small to mid-sized businesses on long-term, larger projects, or even a series of projects. So one of the benefits of being, agile like that is I can customize a team. So I have a great network of writers, programmers, photographers, videographers, whatever the project needs, and I can assemble the team I need and execute.
You've done a great swath of work, everything from Adoption Rhode Island, where you rebuilt their mark and created a logo that's much more timely, shall we say, but also kind of classic. And you stayed away from all the cliches that mark might lend itself to, right?
Yeah, well, you didn't see all the sketches. So
you tried all the cliches and then got away from them?
Well, you have to get all that stuff out of the way first, and then, you can get to the good stuff.
And then, all the way to cool online for Pet Sitters International, is that the name of it?
Yeah.
Which is really a digital play, right? I mean, a much more, seems that the implications of the design work you did there was a lot of applications for apps and the web and et cetera.
Yes, that was a complicated web platform, but what they had before really wasn't serving their needs. So, I was part of a team that developed that new website. We did a little bit of rebranding for them, not too much, but it was really about getting them a website that all of their members could access easily, update all their information, and use it as a resource for getting, allowing people to find a pet sitter for their dog or cat or even fish.
Fish sitters?
Yeah.
Is that a growing part of the economy? I know people are crazy about their pets.
Yeah.
Crazy about our chocolate lab. But is fish sitting, is that a growing part of the economy?
Well, some people have very expensive tropical fish, and when they come back from their 2-week vacation wherever, they want to know that those fish were taken care of. So yeah, it's a real thing.
Job retraining for those folks in West Virginia or out of the coal mining industry.
Right.
Fish sitting may be the new opportunity for them economically. Talk a little bit about, one of your coolest projects is for a record company. And I didn't even know we were allowed to call them record companies because, who really makes records anymore? But though it's starting to come back in some genres. Talk a little bit about that project because it's a really cool design application.
Yeah, that was a great opportunity. It's Merge Records. They're based down in Durham, North Carolina, and I was able to work with their art director at the time in sort of a collaborative way to rebrand them and really bring them into the 21st century, because the website that they had prior really didn't have the bandwidth to handle the traffic that was coming to them, and they really wanted to expand their offerings as far as original content and writing, as well as a built-in audio player so you could sample some of the music and really get a sense of it before you bought it. So it was a monster site. We had a really good team put together for that. And what was interesting was I never really considered myself an indie music fan. But as you get to work with the client, you really have to kind of get into their world and into their space. So I was listening to all sorts of different music and learned to appreciate some artists that I'd never really heard of before. I mean, I'm pretty mainstream top 40, but it was a great experience working with them.
That's great. Was there a little yin and yang of wanting to modernize them, but also be respectful to what they were in the past, and sort of melding that? It's kind of like, what are you going to do with Motown? You're not going to revamp Motown, right?
Right. Well, fortunately, Merge's branding was fairly transparent. They really do a good job at letting their artists sort of shine through, their brand.
Right.
And so it was really about highlighting their artists and making sure that we were representing them well, and bringing their brands across. And Merge was really just sort of a very nondescript sort of container, tried not to get in the way of the different artist brands. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of different artists.
And a lot of genres of music. It wasn't like it was all Motown and it was.
Oh, no, no.
Right. It was
Yeah.
The complete collection of independent
Yeah.
musicians.
Yeah, and what was interesting was I forget how many years ago we launched that site, but one of their artist groups hit it really big. Just as the site launched, and there was such a surge of traffic to the site that it crashed the server. So we instantly had to expand and get them some more bandwidth.
It's always great to crash the server. We broke, sadly, the story of Buddy Ciancy's death, and that lasted all of about 20 minutes as the site crashed, and took about an hour to get repaired and revamped,
Yeah.
and restructured.
It is a little bit of badge of honor that you're like, hey, we did so well, we crashed the server.
We broke the internet.
Right.
You were in-house in agencies. You were in-house at colleges and universities.
Mm-hmm.
You've got deep experience, RISD grad, been in the market for a while. Talk about owning your own place. This hour we have on Mondays is really about talking about entrepreneurship and what the challenges are. And let's go with the challenges. What's the biggest challenges for that young designer who's hating the man at their job right now? What is the warnings you might want to put up? The flare gun shot that says, before you jump, consider these items. So
Okay.
I'll go with the challenges.
Well, I think my advice to a young designer, maybe fresh out of school, is it's okay to work for the man for a while. Because like most graduates, when I got out of school, I had all of this, theory in my head, all of this design knowledge, but I didn't know a thing about working in the real world.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay to spend a little time working for somebody, learning the business, getting some experience and really establishing yourself as a designer before jumping out. But I would recommend getting out probably on your own sooner than I did. I waited about 22 years, so I was a bit of a slow starter. But one of the challenges, of course, is your skill set.
Right.
You know how to design. But there's so many things about owning a business, so many different hats that you have to wear. So for me, this last 3 years has been a learning curve of just learning how to be a business person, learning how to network, learning how to take care of all of the legal stuff that you have to take care of and handle books and all of that stuff that goes on sort of behind the scenes when you're working for somebody, but
Right.
when you're on your own, you're the guy
Yeah.
or you're the girl.
Yeah.
You're the one that has to take care of all that. So I was very fortunate to make connections right away with a lot of great business professionals that taught me how to network, taught me how to go find leads, taught me all those things that I just never had to bother with before.
Yeah, right. And what's been the biggest surprise? The thing that you just didn't anticipate? Did I trigger something on that?
Well, yeah. I've always considered myself a bit of an introvert.
Yeah.
But I discovered that I really enjoy networking. I really enjoy meeting new people.
So you're at those 5 o'clock chamber things all the time?
Yeah,
With the guys from the phone companies and the cocktail places?
Yeah, but I really enjoy meeting people. As a matter of fact, one of the things I've gotten involved with lately is being a volunteer advisor at Social Enterprise Greenhouse,
Okay.
Which is a great organization. And once a month I go in and offer some of my time to advise people on branding and design. And I've just met some of the most fascinating people,
great.
solopreneurs, startups, and I found that I really do enjoy it. And I always feel like it enriches me because you learn things that you didn't know before.
That's great. And then what's been we talked a little bit about the challenges. What's been the greatest, sense of satisfaction? What's been the biggest accomplishments that's come out of it? I think, as an entrepreneur, you move so fast, you really never take a second to enjoy it. There's no big parties. There's no,
no.
We just clicked over our first billion user on Facebook type of thing.
Right.
But talk about the sort of sense of satisfaction that you've realized.
I think for me, I've always enjoyed doing what I do. I've always enjoyed being a designer, helping people solve their problems, visually. But being able to do it in a way that suits me, sort of setting my own pace, going out and finding those clients that I really want to work with, that I believe in what they're doing, I feel like I can best help them, and being able to sort of customize, my business to my passions, I think has been the greatest satisfaction. They say when you go into your business, you work twice as long for half the pay. And I found that to be true. But I really do enjoy working with the clients that I have. And I really do like setting my own schedule.
Do you get a sense that you've changed, gotten a little more capitalistic, a little more cursing tax policy, things like that, fees that the state government charges, all those kind of little things?
There are definitely things that I've discovered business-wise that I do not enjoy, which is why I begged my wife, please be my bookkeeper, because I don't want to do this anymore, and I don't think I've even really doing a good job, so please, keep us out of prison, take over the books. But yeah, there's, fortunately for designers, there's not a whole lot of regulation or certification.
Right.
We kind of operate under the radar as far as that goes. But there have been things, filling out government forms and things like that, which are tedious. But even, working for large organizations like universities and stuff, being a preferred vendor, there are a lot of hoops you have to jump through there, a lot of paperwork. So I don't particularly care for the bureaucracy of it, but sometimes it's necessary.
You worked with Commerce and through one of their programs. Talk a little bit about which program and what the experience has been, and be honest. I always try and goad the guest into what the downside of it was.
It was a nightmare. No.
Thank you so much.
Actually, it was a very enjoyable experience. Commerce Rhode Island has been very good. I first met Doris Blanchard at Commerce through a networking event, and she told me about a event that they were going to be putting on where they were going to bring in a lot of sort of non-traditional lenders to give a little workshop on how you could access some of those funds. So, I was in that position of needing a little bit of financial help and really not having the opportunity to go to a traditional lending institution and get a loan, a business loan. So I went and checked it out. I met, one of the individuals there I met was Buck from Community Investment Corporation, and he was extremely helpful, very friendly, very easy to work with, and managed to get me my first microloan.
That's great.
Yeah.
And paperwork-wise, a lot of process or minimal, or?
Actually,
did they lose it in their Akron office or anything like that? You're an Ohio guy.
Right. No, I would say, what I got as far as paperwork and that, it was probably what I expected because I had already gone through some of that with other organizations. Yeah. So it certainly was better than dealing with city and state government.
Yeah.
But pretty painless, I would say, altogether.
And then what's been your growth strategy over the last 3 years? What are you trying to achieve? Where do you want to get to? Are you looking to, we talked in the green room sort of about the Malcolm Greer model, a famous, iconic designer, Olympics, CVS's logo, Department of Health and Human Services, passed away about a few years ago. I don't know, 2-3 years ago. But his agency continues to bloom. He's a famous professor at RISD as well, obviously.
Yeah, actually, I had him for several different courses when I was at RISD, and one of my heroes. Yeah. I really like his aesthetic and his philosophy of design. So, yeah, if I could be the next Malcolm Kerr, that would be fantastic. But my growth strategy is not to necessarily grow the agency to a certain number of people. I really do like being sort of a independent creative director, and that gives me the chance to work with a lot of different individuals and continue to grow my network of professionals. So I really like the ability to sort of customize a team to fit any project. So I don't know if I'll ever really become a traditional agency in that sense, but I definitely want to continue to expand my client base and gain exposure for my business. And I appreciate you having me on today. So that certainly helps.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But just I would say grow in a slow way in order to be able to continue to serve my existing clients while continuing to add to my network.
Great. If folks, is there certain types of work you want that you think your firm's the best at? I mean, if I'm watching you, everybody has a design need, right? I mean, literally as we're standing here, I'm clicking through all the things we need to work with. We'll talk in the other room.
Okay, all right.
But, is there any type of genre? Is there any kind of, the world's changed so much. You used to think of things as one-dimensional. You thought of them as print. Maybe, depending on the organization, would expand to video.
Right.
Now it's completely changed in a digital world,
Yeah.
And we've delivered around 2 billion ads. We've had hundreds of advertisers, and sometimes you see these companies come over. We just did a new logo, and it's a very horizontal logo. And you go, well, there's a designer who doesn't know that there's the internet, right?
Right.
That horizontal logo just isn't going to work on a 300 by 250 ad unit.
No.
Or a 160 by 600 kind of situation.
You make an excellent point. I mean, developing an identity for a business or a brand for them, it has to be versatile.
Yeah.
And you have to consider everywhere where it might be.
Right.
Back in the day when I was in school, and it was pretty much, this was before the web, even then you had to consider in print format where it might be. It might be, on a pin, or it might be on the side of a bus, or it might be, as Malcolm used to say, it might be carved in ice.
Yeah.
So you have to consider all of these things. But now with digital, there's so many other platforms that you have to consider. And I think the mark of a good designer is one that actually takes into consideration all of the permutations that it might take to get this out there and to help market the business. A friend of mine who runs a local agency does a lot of branding work. He's an excellent designer. Said to me that when he sits down with his clients and talks to them about an identity, he talks to them in regards to developing a system instead of just a stamp. A single mark that you just end up stamping everywhere. It's really a living system that can adapt and can grow and scale with the business.
Great. Thank you so much for coming on. Congratulations on the success.
Thank you.
Congratulations on breaking out on your own. Now the only one you have to curse is yourself.
Yes.
Damn the man.
Yeah.
Damn, I am the man.
Exactly.
Congratulations. We really appreciate you taking the time. Folks, look for it tomorrow. There'll be a write-up, all the hyperlinks to learn more about his agency. And see if you've got the need to tap into a smart design firm to enhance your corporate identity or strategic communications need. We're going to be right back in 1 second with one of the most interesting pseudo-entrepreneurs, finance, nonprofit. He's got it all going on, Andrew Posner. We'll be right back in about 1 minute.